A chilling Monday night, though it was only early autumn. Monica Carter slowed her car in front of the gas station on Maple Creek Road, on the outskirts of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. The dashboard clock had just turned 9:03. The station was nearly deserted, lit only by flickering fluorescent lights and the whistle of wind slicing through the metal fence. Monica was still in her nurse's uniform, her dark scrubs soaked from the rain, the cuffs dripping after nearly a 14-hour shift. The scent of antiseptic, blood, and exhaustion still clung to her. Dark circles shadowed her eyes and her legs felt ready to give out. But inside she remained sharply alert, an instinct forged by countless life-or-death nights in the emergency room. She pulled up to pump number 4. In the back seat, her 10-year-old son, Jalen, wearing a surgical mask, was focused on a spelling exercise on his iPad. On nights this cold, his chronic asthma could flare up at any moment. His inhaler sat in his pencil case, always within reach like a survival weapon. Monica leaned down to the window. "I'm going in to grab some water and tissues. 2 minutes, okay?" "Yes, don't forget your jacket," Jalen replied without looking up, giving her a thumbs up. "Lock the door, all right?" She smiled and turned away. No one saw how her eyes lingered briefly to the right, where a police cruiser sat in the shadows beneath a tree. Lights off, engine still warm. The 2 officers in the car had spotted her long before. Brian Thompson squinted through the dusty window, while Travis Reed popped the lid off his coffee with a casual flick. Nurse, black, driving a car too nice for her paycheck. Doesn't look right. No way that's her car. Probably borrowed it, or never gave it back. "Let's check it out. These types slip up easy." They stepped out. No rush, no noise, just intent. Monica stood tall as they approached. Her hands still rested on the gas pump, but her eyes were fixed on their badges. This wasn't new to her. She'd been called the wrong name, asked if she was really a doctor, and had her bags searched for wearing designer items at the grocery store. Monica had served in the Army Medical Corps, had held the hands of bleeding soldiers in Iraq, had inserted breathing tubes under gunfire to save dying comrades. She once believed that if she survived the minefields abroad, home would be safer. But tonight, on American soil, she had to breathe carefully and stand still like a suspect, just because of the color of her skin. "This your car?" Thompson asked, not expecting a response. "Yes," she answered, handing over her license, registration, and insurance papers. "Just bought it. Plates are already registered." Reed didn't bother with the documents. He walked around back, inspecting the license plate like he was hunting for an excuse to revoke her legitimacy. "This station's near an area we're watching. An Accord like this showed up in a drug deal 3 days ago." "I'm a nurse at Winston Regional," Monica said, restrained but wary. "You don't look like the type that drives a car like this," Thompson pressed. A jab, not at her paperwork, but at her race. Inside the car, Jalen looked up. He sensed the change in the air. His mother's voice had shifted. Her movements had entered battle mode. He carefully unzipped his backpack, pulled out his phone. No games, no calls, just recording. Recording began. 9:06 p.m. His mother had taught him, "If you ever see me being pressured, stay calm. You can be the eyes of the truth." And tonight, Jalen, just 10 years old, was doing exactly that. He quickly typed a message. "Mom stopped by cops. Maple Road, gas station near the bridge. Need Uncle T." He slid the phone into the collar of his hoodie and sat still. His eyes never left the blue uniforms now circling his mother. "Any weapons or suspicious items in the vehicle?" "Number my son's inside. He's 10, has a history of asthma. Nothing else." "10, huh? He looks older. That your kid?" Monica nodded, fist clenched. They were poking, probing, fishing for cause. She turned to Jalen through the glass. He sat still, mask covering most of his face. But his eyes, they said he understood. Then Reed noticed the sign. "Camera temporarily offline. Under maintenance." He whistled softly. Thompson raised an eyebrow. "Oh, nobody's seeing anything here tonight. Just the 3 of us know she's standing here, with a car that doesn't really match her financial profile." The wind howled louder. The atmosphere thickened. This wasn't a routine check anymore. She had seen Iraqi soldiers lower their weapons at the sight of a crying child. But here, in the heart of America, one move toward her phone and guns would twitch. This was a hunt. Monica saw Reed's hand drift near his belt, close to his gun. She didn't move, didn't step back. She gripped her bag strap tighter and said, "I haven't done anything wrong. I'm tired after a long shift. My son is waiting for me in the car. If you do anything to frighten him, I swear on my life, you won't be wearing those uniforms much longer." 1 second, 2, silence. In the distance, a pair of headlights turned on. Light sliced through the mist. Jalen's hidden phone glowed faintly beneath his hoodie. The red light blinked. Recording was still on. It heard everything. Every word, every tight breath, every ounce of rising tension. Like a fuse waiting for the spark. No sirens, no shouted commands. Just a deadly silence, taut like a string about to snap. Then came a question, not meant to be answered, but to trigger what they had intended all along. Monica knew it in her bones. The air had changed, from cold to metallic, from silence to threat. Her chest tightened, not from fear, not entirely. It was the vigilance of someone who had seen too many lives branded non-compliant before they even had a chance to speak. Officer Thompson no longer hid his disdain. His eyes narrowed, lips twitching as if suppressing a grin. But it wasn't joy, it was a countdown. Reed's face had hardened into a mask. No pretense anymore. His stance, legs wide, arms crossed, wasn't for questioning. It was for domination. "I want my papers back," Monica said, her voice firm. She tried not to let her trembling hand show on the gas pump handle. "Nothing's stopping you," Thompson smirked. But he didn't hand them over. Instead, he tossed the bundle toward her chest like garbage flung at a beggar. The papers scattered, fluttering to the rain-slick, oil-stained concrete. "You've got an attitude," he muttered. "Is that how people talk to cops where you're from?" Monica bent to gather the papers, her knees curling, not from weakness, but humiliation. "I'm speaking as a citizen. I've done nothing wrong. I've cooperated." "You call that cooperation?" Reed sneered, circling to the rear of the car. "Why do you look like you're hiding something in there then?" "I was looking at my son." Monica stood upright, crumpled papers clenched in her fist. "He's only 10. He's scared." 10? Thompson glanced quickly at the car. "Dragging him out this late? That car sure doesn't look like it's yours. And that kid doesn't look much like you. You sure he's even your kid?" That question wasn't just offensive. It was a slap to the soul. Monica gripped her bag strap tighter, her face hardening. "Leave my son out of this." Inside the car, Jalen began to feel suffocated. His chest was weighed down as if by an invisible sandbag. He leaned sideways, reaching for his inhaler, his hands trembling, but still trying to stay calm. Just a little longer. Just hold on. Outside, Reed slapped the hood. "Playing the victim now, huh? Go ahead, call someone. Call whoever you want. Call the damn Senate." Monica pulled her phone from her scrub pocket. Her eyes skimmed the contact list. Her brother's name lit up on the screen. Before her finger could hit call, Thompson lunged forward like a shadow. "No way!" Bang! He slapped the phone out of her hand. It flew across the lot, clattering against the gas pump, landing face down, its glow fading. "You don't get to make a call until I say so," he snarled. "That's my phone!" Monica snapped, stepping forward on instinct. And then it happened, in an instant, like a violent reflex long rehearsed. Thompson shoved her against the car, his hand like a slab of iron. Reed rushed around the front, grabbed her wrist and twisted it back. Her shoulder slammed into the sharp metal edge, pain shooting up to her neck. The scent of burning synthetic fabric from her scrub shirt mixed with gasoline, as if her body were being peeled apart under the mask of legality. "Resisting an officer," he yelled, trying to pin a legal label onto her instinct to defend herself. "I'm not resisting. My son is watching. Stop this." "That kid," Reed turned, sneering. "He's putting on an act. What condition? Probably just playing up so you can wriggle out." Inside the car, Jalen doubled over. Each wheezing breath rattled like an explosion inside his chest. He lifted his inhaler to his lips, but his hands shook too hard to press it. "Mom," the word came like a strangled plea. "Mom, I can't breathe." Monica broke down, her scream slicing the night. "He's having an asthma attack. Please, he needs his inhaler. Shut up! Thompson roared like an animal, then yanked open the back door, swiping Jalen's hand away. The inhaler flew from his fingers, landing on the floor. No kid fakes suffocation to help their mom get off the hook, he barked. What is this? Some kind of movie? Jalen let out a dry, cracked noise, strangled in his throat. Tears spilled from his eyes, his tiny body curling in on itself in spasms. He couldn't inhale, couldn't exhale. His fingertips began turning purple. He clenched his lips, trying not to cough. His chest puffed up like a balloon about to burst. If he didn't get the inhaler in seconds, his brain would run out of oxygen. Monica panicked, and it was all recorded. Every breath, every cruel word, every slam. In the darkness, the phone hidden in Jalen's hoodie kept recording. Monica tore away from Reed for a split second, diving toward the back seat with all the strength she had left. Her shaking hands grabbed the inhaler off the freezing car floor, pressing it into Jalen's hands. Baby, press it, now! But before she could turn, Reed grabbed her by the shoulder, yanking her out like a sack of sand. His nails dug into her wrist, leaving purple welts. You're resisting an officer. You brought this on yourself. You're hurting my mom, Jalen screamed, his voice cracking, breaking between spasms. Oh, so the kid can yell too, Thompson sneered, slamming the car door like he was sealing off an emergency. Both of you think you're above the law? Think that skin color's a damn privilege? You want me to prove otherwise? Monica stood trapped between the two men. She was shaking, not from fear, but from rage. Rage so deep it numbed her, from the way they treated her as trash, just because of her skin. She saw it clearly. No one needed to say it out loud. This was no longer a routine check. This was a hunt. Then, the sound of screeching tires tore through the night like a scream. A sleek black SUV slid into the lot, stopping just steps from where Monica was clutching her son. She leaned her head against the hood, thinking, if someone, somewhere is watching, please don't let my child die here. And then, light. Like the universe had answered. Headlights blasted across the scene, illuminating raindrops mid-air like suspended blood. Both officers jumped. Thompson gripped his holster. Reed braced himself, but they froze the moment the door opened. And a tall black man stepped out, his wool coat parting to reveal a silk tie and a razor-sharp lapel. The man didn't yell, didn't rush. He walked like the ground moved aside for him. The headlights behind him cast a long shadow, like a warning. My name is Terrence Carter, he said, his voice low and even, but every word cut like a blade unsheathed. I'm the acting mayor of this city, and my sister was just pinned to the ground by two officers while her child was in medical distress. Let her go, now. Silence, shock, paralysis. The entire scene went still, like the air had been vacuumed out. Thompson's eyes widened. Reed blinked rapidly, his lips moving with no sound. She was resisting, Thompson stammered, clinging to a scrap of justification. We followed procedure. What procedure? Terrence snapped. Threatening an unarmed woman? Refusing medical aid to a child in distress? Targeting a black citizen without cause? Does that procedure only apply to men like you? Reed swallowed. We had the right to be suspicious. Number you had nothing except bias and abused power. And I didn't come here alone. From the shadows, two marked patrol cars from the River Hill Police Department rolled silently into the gas station. No sirens, no chaos, just the quiet arrival of something meant to restore justice. 4 officers stepped out, their movements synchronized, their eyes sweeping the scene like an MRI scan. We received a priority alert from a senior city official, a sergeant said. Orders came from the mayor's office. We await instructions. Terrence didn't shout. He simply said, disarm Thompson and Reed. Place them on immediate administrative suspension. Begin incident documentation on site. What? Thompson roared, livid as if being strangled. He's a relative of the suspect. He has no authority. He is a city official, the sergeant replied flatly. And you are now the subject of a misconduct investigation. Thompson growled, but when two officers approached with rubber gloves, he ripped off his duty belt and slammed it on the hood. The metal clanged like a curse of failure. "This is bullshit," he spat. "That woman had no business being out here at night." Terrence remained still, unblinking. "Every word you say now will go into your disciplinary record. Keep going, Officer Thompson, and you'll get to face the courtroom just like the people you've looked down on." As Thompson and Reed were escorted away, an ambulance pulled in. The first out was a white-haired white paramedic. She knelt beside Monica. No questions, just a look. Then, "He's having a severe asthma attack. His mother's heart rate is elevated. We need to transport immediately." Monica didn't respond. She only nodded, her face pale. Terrence stepped beside her, placing a hand on his sister's shoulder. "You're going with him. I'm coming too. You're safe now." He helped her to her feet as Jalen was laid onto a stretcher. The boy reached out, gripping his mother's hand, the one lifeline in a storm. His breathing had eased, but his eyes still swirled with fear and confusion. Terrence leaned down, his large hand brushing Jalen's forehead. "You did good, Jalen. You saved your mom tonight." Monica turned as the ambulance doors opened and the EMTs began to close them. "How did you know so quickly?" "Jalen texted me," Terrence said, eyes still on the boy. "And he recorded it. All of it." "They thought a broken camera was enough," he continued. "But no one can turn off the microphone in a child's heart." From inside the ambulance, as red emergency lights began to spin, Monica glanced out the fogged rear window. Through mist and a growing crowd, she looked back at the gas station, where a typical Monday night had become a racial battlefield. Thompson, now cuffed, thrashed, face crimson, yelling into a void. Reed slumped forward, hands over his head like a man just waking from a smug dream. And in the middle, Terrence Carter stood like a bronze statue, jaw clenched, arms folded, containing the fury of a family and of a community. That night, the streets of River Hill were no longer silent. They were waking up. The next morning, City Hall conference room. The second-floor meeting room wasn't large, but it was as cold as an operating room. Everything was spotless, polished, not out of respect, but because detachment had been designed into the space. White LED lights glared down on the long glass table, empty like a surgical tray waiting for evidence. The chairs were plush, but icy. Monica sat upright in one of them, wearing a navy sweatsuit, her shoulder tightly wrapped in white gauze, hair pulled back, no tears. She wasn't here for sympathy. She was here for justice. Jalen sat close beside her, a thin blanket over his legs. A plastic cup of orange juice trembled slightly in his hands. No one had the heart to tell him to put it down. His eyes were wide, no longer childish, no longer afraid. They were the eyes of a boy who had been taught, in blood, that innocence was not a luxury he could afford. Across the table, Terrence stood silently, not as mayor, not as a politician, but as a black man who had seen his sister dragged like a criminal. He held a tablet, the video frozen on screen, gas station lights glowing on Monica's face. 1 second before the strike, 1 second before the scream. No one spoke, only the hum of air vents and the soft buzz from the speaker. When the video resumed, the first sound was a gasp, then Monica's voice, calm, controlled, then a thud. The phone hit the ground. Her body slammed against the car. Reed's sneer, Thompson's short laugh, and then Jalen's strangled cry, the wheezing, the panic, and finally the sound of the car door being ripped open, followed by the line no one in that room would ever forget. "No kid fakes being sick just to help their mom escape the law." Terrence paused the video. The frame froze, Reed's hand pressing down on a kneeling woman. Monica leaned forward. Her voice was low but firm. "You thinking about burying this?" Terrence didn't turn. His eyes stayed locked on the screen. "No, we're releasing it. Every second, every word. The press conference, no ceremony, no flags, just the truth." The press conference wasn't held in the Grand Hall. There were no flashy backdrops, no rainbow of microphones. It took place in a small room with beige walls, an outdated projector, and a cold metal table. Not a place for controlling the narrative, but a place where truth revealed itself. Reporters trickled in, thinking they were attending a standard accountability update, but the mood shifted the moment Terrence Carter walked in. No tie, no excuses, just eyes sharp enough to cut through the entire system. He placed both hands on the table and looked directly into the camera. Last night, 2 officers pulled over a mother on her way home. They interrogated her, humiliated her, assaulted her, and her child. They called the boy a faker. They slapped the inhaler from the hands of a child mid-asthma attack. A few reporters froze, fingers halted above keyboards. They thought the camera was broken. They thought no one witnessed it. But they forgot one thing. That 10-year-old recorded everything. Terrence paused. Behind him, the screen flickered to life. Raw footage, no edits, no blurs, no narration. Monica slumped over the car hood, Jalen reaching for his inhaler, Reed lifting his hand, Thompson turning away with a smirk. Questions exploded like gunfire from the press row. Is that really the mayor's sister? Was the child seriously injured? What charges will the officers face? Terrence raised a hand, his gaze slicing through the room like a blade. This is not a family issue. This is justice. And from now on, this city will no longer protect badges behind shadows. Across town, at the River Hill South Police Headquarters, calm had shattered. Flickering fluorescent lights, internal alerts had been sent out early that morning. Reed and Thompson sat cuffed, slouched on a metal bench. Their faces were flushed red, not from shame, but from wounded pride. Utterly ridiculous, Reed muttered, twisting his wrists in the cuffs. They offered us up like sacrifices, a screaming black woman, a kid faking an attack, and we're the modern-day monsters. A young officer nearby glanced sideways, his look silent, disapproving, but unwilling to intervene. You let him record the whole thing, Thompson, Reed suddenly barked. We're getting crucified by a cheap phone. The crowd doesn't want facts, they want feelings. No one responded. No one defended them. By early afternoon, the video had swept across all platforms, from Twitter and Instagram to local news channels. Headlines detonated like synchronized charges. Black nurse assaulted by police in front of son at gas station. Child suffers asthma attack during police threats. Mayor Hall demands full suspension of all involved officers. Hashtags surged like a tidal wave. Shuckers justice for Jalen. Shuckers nurse not threat. Shoppers stop weaponizing badge. In front of City Hall, the crowd didn't chant or riot, but it was dense. Not professional protesters, neighbors, doctors, veterans, single mothers, people Monica had cared for. No megaphones needed. They stood like a silent wall, as if protecting something sacred. Inside a small government conference room, Monica sat with Jalen resting against her shoulder. The boy breathed steadily, a thermal blanket clutched in his hands. Pale face, but peaceful eyes closed. Monica brushed back his messy curls, her gaze fixed on the television screen playing the live stream of those waiting for the court hearing. You think they'll actually be held accountable? She asked. Hall, seated beside her, didn't look away. He replied quietly, if they're not, this city won't be a city anymore. At the trial, Monica looked the jury square in the eye. I truly believed I wouldn't get the inhaler to my son in time, and you call that a routine check? Jalen wasn't a formal witness, but his recording was allowed to play in full. The courtroom froze. Black mother, probably just another welfare case. Thompson's voice rang out cold as steel. What? Your mom teach you to fake asthma for free meds? Reed laughed. The jury returned, not a single blink. Guilty, on every charge, no exceptions. Excessive use of force, assault of a citizen, endangerment of a minor. Falsified reporting. The judge struck the gavel, his sentence as precise as a scalpel. This court finds the defendants unfit to wear this city's badge. You are to be taken into custody immediately and stripped of all misused authority. Monica did not cry. She looked to Hall. He didn't nod, but they understood each other. That room, once heavy with the weight of history, now cracked open just enough to let in a sliver of light, not a victory, but movement. Outside, there was no cheering, no slogans, only the silence of witness. Monica and Jalen stepped out, hand in hand. An elderly woman approached, not crying, not wordy. She simply touched Monica's hand. "Thank you for not staying silent." Monica looked down at her son. He's the one who refused to stay silent. A man stepped forward. Paul Hull, a retired officer. In his hands, a weathered frame with a scorched badge inside. "I used to believe this badge protected people, but I was wrong. From today on, I want it to be a reminder of what must be fixed." Jalen wasn't sure. He looked to his mother. Monica nodded. "Take it, baby, so you'll remember." He took it, said nothing, but held it tightly to his chest, like a silent promise.